Hello and welcome to this B1 Usability Package presentation. My name is Morten Petersen and I'm a developer at Boyum IT, and I'll be taking you through this session on Universal Function File Importer, or UFI for short. UFI is a universal function used for importing data into SAP from a custom file format. The flow of UFI is that you have a file, you then need to write some C# with your business logic that reads the file and uses the DI API to import it. And finally, you then have some data in SAP. UFI is meant as a developer tool as it requires SDK and C# knowledge. UFI gives you as a developer certain benefits and also lowers the implementation time of a project. First of all, the C# is compiled on the fly so that you can change and edit the code on-premise and there is no need to recompile an add-on. We also include a free Visual Studio-like editor for easier code editing. One of the biggest advantages is that we have made all the file logic for you. This means that we have created an intelligent archiving function that handles all the file logic like archiving, locking, checking that a folder are writable, etc. So we have created all the need to have code for you, so that you only need to create the business logic. UFI can also be run like a normal UF and on a schedule. We also include a free FTP utility that can download and upload files on a schedule. The scenario that we are going to create is that we want to import a purchase order as a draft. The XML that we are going to import is a simple format with a card code, a date and some items. Let's have a look at how we can import this into SAP using UFI. I have already made a configuration that are able to do this to avoid typing time, but let's have a look at what it does. First, I created a new menu item that I have linked to the UFI configuration that I created, so that I am able to run the configuration. It's here called import orders. If we open the UFI configuration, let's have a look at the folder options first. The work folder is where UFI is looking for files to work with. You can for example use the FTP utility to download files into this folder on a schedule. You can filter what file extensions UFI should work with using this input box. The success folder is where the items that were imported successfully are stored, and the error folders are where the items that could not be imported or had errors are stored. The log folder is where you can go if you want to find logs for the operation done by UFI. Let's have a look at the code. To open the code, you need to press this button. This will open the editor where you can edit the code. To work with UFI, you need to create a class that implements an interface from the universal functions. The interface have a single method called import, and you will get a single parameter that contains the file name, as you can see here in line 817. As we have done all the logic already, you just need to create your business logic and then you need to return a file handle result entry. If you import the file successfully, you will need to return file handle result status.success. This will make UFI move the file to the success folder. If an error happens, you will need to return an error result instead, and this will make UFI move it to the error folder. The code I have written here first passes the XML. It then creates a template object and sets it to a purchase invoice. It then sets some header line data from the XML, and it then sets some line data as well. It then tries to add the document. If it's a success, it returns the file handle result status.success, otherwise it returns an error. And if any exception happens, it will also return an error. You are able to add new references if you want to use some kind of special DLL. You can right click and then you can say add assembly and then you can add a DLL file. Now let's try to actually run this code. So let's close this again. And here I have my work folder where I have added this purchase invoice. It's just the XML that I showed you before. And if I try to click the import orders button here, it will think and then it's done. So it have now taken the file and moved it, then have moved it into the success folder. So I should now have a new purchase invoice draft document, and I do, and I can see that I have got it imported correctly. Now if for example the file have any errors, I can try to move it again, and I can try to make it invalid XML. Then an error will happen, and let's see how it handles it. So we try to import it again. See, I get a warning that something went wrong during the import, and that I can look into the event log. So I can go out here again, find the log. You can see there are logs for every action in here. If I just take the latest one, I'll get a full log of what had happened, and I can see here that something in the XML was incorrect. So I can go in back again, take my file, and then I can fix the error. Now I should be able to import it again, and it's gone. So with Ufi you just need to write the parsing of the file, and then you need to write the business logic that actually imports the file. The rest, the file handling, is already done by us, and you just need to implement this interface, implement this method, and then return a file handler result entry. You are also able to make Ufi run on a schedule. To do this you need to create a universal function batch configuration. So let's try to create one. Administration, add-ons, usability package, module configuration, and then select universal function batch configuration. The universal function batch configuration is used to create a configuration that can later on be run on a schedule. So you need to give it a name, and then you need to select the Ufi universal function we just created, and that's basically it. You can just add it, and then you're able to create a schedule where you select the batch configuration, and then you just need to specify an error email and a success email and set up how often it should run. This enables you to run Ufi on a schedule, so that you could, for example, import orders every day at a certain time or every 5 minutes, depending on the business scenario. Thank you for attending this e-learning session. For more training material, please go to service.boyum-it.com/education. To get a free demo license of the product, go to license.boyum-it.com/b1up. You can also contact us on our sales and our support email. Thank you for attending.